Hi, today we're going to talk about graphing and writing the equations of circles. So first, let's talk about the definition of a circle. So maybe you remember back to geometry class when you used the compass a lot to construct a circle. So you had this point in the middle, that's our center, and then we used the compass to draw a circle. And the thing about a circle is the distance from the radius to any point on the circle is the same. So that's how a circle is constructed, is by keeping that distance the same and then going around and around and around. So that's actually our definition of a circle. It's a set of all points where the distance is the same from a fixed point called a vertex, called a center. So if you think back to the last day that I was there, we talked about how our distance formula is this: x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and it's the square root of that. We talked about how that's really the same as a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where the distance part is if we took the square root of c squared, there's our distance. This distance a is the length, the changes of our x, and the distance b's is the changes of the y's. So if we have 2 points on our coordinate plane, the distance can be found using the distance formula, which in reality is the change in the y's and the changes in the x. So it's Pythagorean's theorem. We're finding that hypotenuse. So we already talked about how the distance formula and the Pythagorean's theorem are really the same. So the formula for a circle is really just Pythagorean's theorem with x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So r is our distance from the center to any point on our circle. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. C squared and r squared. C is a distance of the hypotenuse. R is the distance from the center to any point. So sometimes we have to rewrite the circles to be able to graph it. So in this situation, it does not match our standard equation of x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So I need to add x squared to both sides. And now x squared plus y squared equals 16. So over here, that gives us our r squared. So r squared equals 16. So r is 4. Because we took the square root of 16, which is 4. Now our center is 0, 0. Just like everything else that we've done so far, the center is at 0, 0. So these are super easy to graph. We just start at 0. We go up 4. We go left 4. We go right 4. And we go down 4. And then we do the best possible job we can at creating a circle. That was pretty bad, but that's good. So sometimes we have to add or subtract to move things around. There's one here that you can try. Go ahead and pause the video and try it. I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. We know that x squared plus y squared equals 4. And r squared therefore is 4, so r is 2. So our radius is 2, so we go left 2, right 2, up 2, down 2. Now, just a side note, think back to what we did last week with ellipses. So if I have 5x squared plus 5y squared equals 125. So that looks like the equation of an ellipse at first, but technically it's an equation of a circle. Do you see how we have the same number here and here? That's a good indication that it's the equation of a circle. So a circle's equation is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So we need to divide everything by 5 to make it look like that. So x squared plus y squared equals 25. So therefore, x squared plus y squared equals 5 squared. So our radius is 5. Now, if you don't catch that, so let's say you're taking your big test at the end of this unit and you have 5x squared plus 5y squared equals 125. And you go, whoops, that's the equation of an ellipse. So you do what you did last week. You divide everything by 125. Go math inner, that gives you 25. Math inner, that gives you 25. Hey, now you have 5 squared and 5 squared equals 1. So if you imagine graphing that, you're going right 5 and left 5, up 5 and down 5. So you still have a circle, because remember, all circles are ellipses. So you actually have a circle using the circle formula, and this is the correct way of doing it. But if you miss the correct way and try to do it as an ellipse, you'll still go left, right 5 and right 5, up 5 and down 5. Now the only thing is, you technically don't have vertices and co-vertices. You just have vertices. You just have, your vertices would be 0 plus or minus 5, and plus or minus 5, 0. We generally don't write these, we just say that our radius is 5. Alright, so now that that tangent's over, let's see how we sometimes have to write an equation. So this problem tells us the point negative 3, 4 lies on a circle whose center is the origin. Write a standard form of the equation of a circle. So we know x squared plus y squared equals r squared. They gave us an x value and a y value that's on our circle. So we know negative 3 squared plus 4 squared equals r squared. Well, negative 3 is 9 squared, 4 squared is 16. So we know r squared equals 25. So our radius is 5, because the square root of 25 is 5. So therefore our equation is x squared plus y squared equals 5 squared, which is, of course, x squared plus y squared equals 25. So go ahead and pause this and do the next problem. I will do the next problem real quick. So x squared plus y squared equals r squared. 6 squared plus negative 3 squared equals r squared. So 36 plus 9 equals r squared. So 45 equals r squared. So r is the square root of 45. So therefore x squared plus y squared equals the square root of 45 squared, which of course is x squared plus y squared equals 45. So we're almost done. Hopefully this is a super easy lesson and you're getting this. Alright, one last problem. It says the beam from Oak Island Lighthouse in North Carolina can be seen for up to 24 miles. You are 18 miles east and 9 miles south of the lighthouse. So we have a lighthouse beam, so that's a giant circle. And anything inside of that circle, you'll be able to see the beam. So if we think about our equation, x squared plus y squared equals r squared, that's not quite true. It could be less than r squared also, and you would see the beam. So it can be seen for up to 24 miles. So that's our radius. You are 18 miles east, so that's an x value, and 9 miles south, so that's a y value. So 18 east and 9 south, so that's x and y. So we can say 18 squared plus 9 squared. And the question is that less than or equal to 24 squared? So literally just pull up your calculator and see what happens. So give me a second. That wasn't very well planned. So 18 times 18 plus 81. So this should be 405. And 405, is that less than or equal to 24 squared? So 24 squared. So 576. So since this is less than or equal to 576, you will be able to see the lighthouse beam. Alright, I hope you're able to do the assignment. I will see you next week. Have a great Thanksgiving.